Was brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
I already see in the chat Eugene said we're going to the World Series, baby. Yes, we are. How you doing, Mets fans? After so much turmoil that we saw, again, just so much nonsense, so much doom and gloom in Metsland, the LO Mets narrative couldn't be more of the truth that we have seen after what we saw with the Jorge Lopez situation, after we saw a true lack of leadership, what felt like truly in that clubhouse. Francisco Lindor, the man who was the driver behind yesterday's team meeting, was the driver behind the offense today with a massive 4-for-4 game as Pete Alonso with pinch hit heroics and JD Martinez with the go-ahead home run carries the Mets to victory as they finally not only land themselves a massive win, but a win where we can look at it and say, okay, maybe this is actually something to build off of. No, I'm not saying the Mets are going to automatically make the playoffs after a win like this, but what I will tell you is that finally, for what feels like the first time in a week's end here in the month of May, that is finally coming to an end very soon, the New York Metropolitans won a baseball game in a entertaining fashion. Yes, of course, they didn't have a lot of offense until their late heroics, but they had positives that we're going to break down in tonight's live show. We're going to be taking your live callers a little bit later on after I break down the game inning by inning. If this is your first time chiming in the channel or you're a recurring viewer or member, thank you all so much for being here. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button for your boy for the #1 post-game show here on YouTube. Again, not directly affiliated with the Mets or SNY. For all your Metropolitan coverage needs, thank you all so much in advance for the support, guys. We've talked about so much negative doom and gloom things and Metsland on the channel. It feels like every single day for the vast majority of the season, but finally, we have some positives that we can get into. I'm actually juiced up to get into this conversation, and if I'm being quite frank, I don't remember the last time I was juiced up talking about the Mets in a positive manner. It has been that long since we have gotten anything enjoyable out of this Metropolitan team, folks. So break it down. Let's get into this, folks. We're going to get through everything inning by inning. Shout out to my amazing sponsors, as always, at MLB, the best MLB fantasy game out there. Make sure to check them out by clicking the link down below. A little bit more on them later in the show. Same thing with our amazing betting sponsor at BetUS, America's #1 sportsbook. Guys, I hammered the New York Rangers spread today at +1.5, and I also hammered the Dallas Mavericks at 4.5. Everything is lining up and looking great until something proves me otherwise, but all I know is it is a good night to be a sports fan. If you're a fan like myself, we're gonna cue the music. I don't even remember the last time we played the post-game jingle, folks. That is how long it's been. But everybody, again, chiming in, thank you all so much for being in here. Thank you for the donations. Yoshima says, Mets win and get a save. It's a damn miracle. 100%. You said it best, my friend. Absolutely. Billy Dottie, thank you so much for the $2 holla. Billy says, forget the team meeting. Jorge Lopez woke us up. Yes, look, at the end of the day, I don't care how it happened. I don't care who you want to credit most. All I care about is winning baseball games. And the Mets were able to do exactly that. Dave McKenna said, Wardy cashing. Hopefully, again, all I need is the Mavs to continue to be what they're doing tonight against the T-Wolves. Wow, the Timberwolves struggling in an elimination game. It's almost like I saw this one coming, and I've been telling you guys this for 48 hours now on the channel. It's almost like you should tail some of my picks. Call me crazy. I know. New York Rangers, that's just the bias kicking in. And again, they're tied as we get to the third period here, folks. But we got a lot to get into. We have a lot to break down. So let's hear it. The official WardyNYM post-game jingle. Shout out, as always, to my great friends at Greg and Jordan with the official WardyNYM postgame jingle. It has been so long since we could rock that bad boy, folks. And as I'm going to get into with you all, and guys, yes, I'm even being smart. I even made sure that the media file, which is my intro for the stream and the jingle, will not run again when I hop back and forth in between my different segments. So when we get into the pitching, and I'm going to tell you, Christian Scott, again, didn't go deep today, but still has been productive for the Mets. Adrian Hauser looks like he might just be the fit as our new Trevor Williams in this bullpen. Danny Young, who's Danny Young? Step right up and meet the latest southpaw that's going to be carving up everyone and their mother out of this bullpen. We love that. Reed Garrett not being a heart attack for the first time in a couple outings. We take that. On the offensive end, again, it wasn't overly pretty, but you got production when you needed it most, and it was headlined by Mr. Smile himself and Francisco Lindor, giving you a 4-for-4 piece, baby. I don't know if you love your Wendy's, but I sure do, and you have to think Frankie had some pregame today, going 4-for-4 with this bad boy, with the home run, with the game-tying RBI single, driving in Pete Alonso that we saw there late in the ball game as a pinch hitter with that double himself. Shout out to Big Me Pete. Poor Bear Pete comes back with the bone bruise and is effective in that one at-bat. JD Martinez said, you know what, let me actually be the JDM of old. Let me be the guy that you signed me for. And just like that, the Mets are officially on a heater, folks. They're on a one-game winning streak. We may never lose a game again. Cue the sarcasm, everybody. But I'm really excited to get to not only breaking down more about this ball game, the positives about it, but also getting to you live viewers. We're going to be taking live callers. I'll take up a good portion of tonight's live show. And nobody said it best in the chat. What is this feeling? I have no clue what this feeling is. It has been so long since us Mets fans have enjoyed anything. And I mean literally anything. I made a video at over, again, the midnight, so early this morning, on how everything is terrible with the Mets, how they don't have leadership, how they don't have hitting in unison, how they have no true identity. And while I still feel that way to a degree about a lot of things, the Mets did something today that needed to be done. They rallied and they won a ball game, and they won a ball game in a manner that can hopefully help them actually get themselves on a little bit of a run here. I know the Mets are not going to win every game. I know the Mets may very well lose their next couple series. But before we get there, can you win finally a series for the first time and feels like forever? The Mets only have one series win since Francisco Alvarez went down with injury, everybody. Yes, you heard that correctly. They have one series win in the entire month of May. Can the Mets, before May wraps up with our final day of the month tomorrow, secure the series victory against the D-backs? We will soon find out, but until then, let's talk about everything that transpired inning by inning. Spam the hype, spam those W's. Again, I understand we're 10 games below 500. I understand that this team has been unbelievably brutal to watch. I understand that it was a snooze fest for the vast majority of this ball game. But the Mets did what they have been needing to do, and to add, again, insult to injury, but not in a bad way, in the right way, I should say, we have a massive update. You see that swing right there? If you're wondering, who is that? That's Francisco Alvarez hitting a 3-run opposite field ding-dong in AA today in his first rehab game. Francisco is logged in, he's ready to go, and his ass I want in Queens this time next week, damn it. That is how much I need Francisco Alvarez back in this lineup, 1, and 2, how much we miss him. He has been so productive when he's out there, even if he isn't hitting well. His defense makes all the difference. So Francisco Alvarez, our young stud of a catcher, I cannot wait to see El Troll back in the lineup, back in the thick of things. And again, if the Mets can just finally start to squander some wins, victories as we get into the month of June, maybe this will be reverse psychology, where instead of a June swoon, you get something positive after a miserable May. Maybe that is the route the Mets will go. Maybe they will free fall after today. Again, we're going to find out tomorrow, but for at least the next 24 hours, we can enjoy this little victory here by this team, the New York Metropolitans. Ain't nobody see nobody, says Wardy, still not happy. Good win, but that may stretch show their true colors. Blow it up. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. Trust me. I know this team has been absolutely, part of my French earmuffs, kiddos, jack shit. I'm well aware of that, okay? It doesn't change the fact that I'm still a Mets fan, and I want them to win. So until they fully commit to a full-blown fire sale or anything along those lines. I want to see this team be productive and win. And thankfully, they did exactly that tonight. So we will take these small victories while we can get them and go from there. And the Mets again look like the Mets of old, which is basically the Mets of yesterday, tomorrow. And it's like, okay, that was a fun little rally win, but we're back to reality again, and the Mets are going to go nowhere. Again, it's Jekyll and Hyde with our emotions as Mets fans, but I will take this in a route where the Mets have given us such little positives, such little optimism so far this season. We played like a normal baseball team today, Tyler. Call the Pope. Seriously, shout out to you, Carson. Happy to have you in here. You're 100% right. The Mets actually played competent baseball. They played a tight, close ball game. That we know. This was a bullpen game for the D-backs after, unfortunately, Zach Gallen, the New Jersey native, who I absolutely love. Big Zach Gallen fan here. He unfortunately went down with injury 6 pitches into the ball game after giving up a leadoff single to Francisco Lindor, who continued his hitting streak now at 9 straight games. Love that. He's been raking throughout that stretch as well. So awesome stuff from Lindor. I'd argue that this is probably the best game of the season for Lindor outside of his 2 home run game that he had, I think, what was in San Francisco. But again, that was against, even more subpar pitching than what we saw against the D-backs bullpen today. It didn't matter who Lindor was facing from the opposing pitching side of things. He was productive every single time out there, and I greatly appreciate that as a fan, and I hope you guys do too, to a degree. But let's talk about it, folks. Joyful June. I like the wordplay. We're so hype after one win. How can he not be? We are so starved for anything enjoyable that we will take, again, these small moral victories to the best of our magnitude, folks. That's exactly what we're going to do. So, folks, I'm going to rapid fire. Let's break down the game inning by inning, 1 through 9, and then I want to take your live callers, folks. Again, if you guys would like to call into the live show here after I break down the game, get into the highlights, get into the pitcher report from my man Isaac Groffman, who does a fantastic job. Check him out for all your pitching analysis needs and pitching threads on Twitter at Isaac Groffman on Twitter. We're going to get into all that, everybody. But if you guys want to call into the show tonight, if you want to have your voice heard, if you want to talk about this victory or talk about how much you hate this Mets team, whatever your thoughts are on the Metropolitans, give me a raised hand emoji in the live chat right now, folks, and I will make sure that we take a bunch of callers, hopefully, whether it's 3, whether it's 5, whether it's more. Gonna take as many as I possibly can after we break down the ball game. But again, if you guys want to call into the show tonight, give me a simple raised hand emoji in the live chat here on YouTube. If you're watching this on Twitter, thank you so much for being in here, but please know I'm only gonna be interacting with our live viewers here on YouTube, so make sure to check me out on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button, greatly appreciate it. But if you are on Twitter and you're gonna stay there, hit that like button, hit that follow button, hit that retweet button, and thank you all so much in advance. Scott Greenwald with the $5 hollow says, as must-win as a must-win game can be for the month of May. Be honest, when Reed Garrett walked the leadoff man in the 9th, 1 to 10 concern level, the concern level for me when Reed Garrett walked the guy was at a 5. I was already like, okay, there's a 50-50 chance this blows up right in front of our face again. And Reed has been less than sharp his last couple outings out there that we know. He's looked more human, unfortunately. That is normal for a guy that, again, had a breakout season this year at the young age of 31 or so. But Reed Garrett did what he needed to do, folks. And we're going to get into Jordan Simpson. Jordan wants to call in. For those that don't know, Jordan is not only a tremendous Mets fan, but he is the creator of the WardyNYM postgame jingle, 1. And 2, he makes jingles and he makes awesome songs recapping every single Mets series. He's a fantastic musician. Jordan and I have known each other for years now, going back to when he flagged me down in the Citi Field parking lot. And I want to say the 2021 season, if not 2022. Jordan and I go way back. So happy to have you in here, brother. Shout out to my great members, Dave, Alan, Steven. Let's see, Yoshima going up the list a bit here too. Everybody, thank you all so much for taking the time, you guys. You are the best. All right, everybody, let's get into it. Here we go again. Yep, shit. Here we go again. You know the memes, you know the drill. Let's break down this ball game. But before I do, a couple of things I want to share with you briefly. First, folks, I did share some clarity on the Jorge Lopez situation on our pregame show today, so make sure to check that if you haven't already. But since then, Jorge Lopez did come out with a statement that I would like to break down with you all. Scott, thank you so much for the donation, my man. It's like being back home. That really does mean a lot to me, my man. Clearly, I'm doing something right when I get remarks like that from people like yourself, so thank you. But Jorge Lopez spoke again on social media today and said the following, and I quote, "First and foremost, I apologize to my teammates, coaches, fans, and front office. I feel that I let them down yesterday, both on and off the field. I also want to clarify my post-game remarks because I had no intention of disparaging the New York Mets organization. During that interview, I spoke candidly about my frustrations and my personal performance and how I felt it made me, and I quote, the worst teammate in the entire league. Unfortunately, my efforts to address the media in English create some confusion and generate headlines that do not reflect what I was trying to express. I wish the team the best and hope that God continues to give me strength and guidance in my personal and professional life. Appreciate that a lot from Jorge Lopez. Again, I'm rooting hard for Jorge Lopez. This is a guy that we know has been going through a lot mentally, and what we heard again that was broken for Boomer Esiason earlier today on WFAN's Boomer and Geo, Jorge Lopez, unfortunately, has either a son or a daughter, I don't know which one it is, that is ill at the moment and is in need of a transplant. So if you're just curious as to where maybe some back emotion and anger is for Jorge, outside of, blowing things the way he did yesterday and, not having some great outings lately and being on a piss poor team like the Mets, the reality is he has a lot of things going on that's much bigger than baseball, understandably so, and I'm just praying for him and his entire family right now that they can get what they need to make sure that his son or daughter is going to be okay with that entire situation. It's a terrible one. I don't wish that on anybody. I certainly don't wish that on Jorge, and again, I'm wishing him with the best with his future endeavors, which wherever he may land when it comes to his next team, even if that's a rival in the Atlanta Braves or if that's a rival in, say, the Philadelphia Phillies, whoever. I appreciate Jorge and wish him the best with whatever his career has to offer going forward. Couple more updates for you all, though, outside the Jorge Lopez one. We talked about the Alvarez home run and, of course, the Zach Gallen injury. Danny Young was called up. As we know, Danny Young, southpaw, had a sub-2 ERA in AAA for the Mets this season. Young was one of a plethora of relievers picked up on a minor league deal by David Stearns this offseason, and Danny Young would be beyond impactful for the Mets with a masterful inning later on this ballgame, including a couple strikeouts for the crafty southpaw. So with Brooks Raley officially out for the season, probably never pitching a game again for the Mets with his contract up after this year's end. I just don't see him returning for obvious reasons, more so for his sake than for the Mets' sake, obviously, because Raley's good. But you want to have another nice southpaw option in this bullpen, not named Jake Diekman, because Diekman can be very Jekyll and Hyde. Enter Danny Young along with Josh Walker that we've seen, but Young had some really nice swing and miss stuff today, and we will gladly take that. Only thing left to do, win the whole fucking thing. Jake Taylor quote. You love to see it. Elgood, happy to have you in here, brother. Currently praying for his family. Appreciate that. Yep, absolutely. All right, guys, let's break it down. In the first inning, we see there, and of course, Ranger game is tied 1-1 in the third for my Ranger fans out there hoping for the best. And if you're an Islander fan or a Devil fan, I'm sorry. That's all I have to say about that. Not trying to offend anybody, but we're going to appreciate the run while we still have it. With 2 outs, Jock Pearson reaches on a catcher's interference as Omar Narvaez at his best. I will give credit where credit's due. As much as I despise Omar Narvaez, and as much as I cannot wait to see him off this roster once Alvarez returns, and that absolutely should happen with the way Nito is catching and hitting right now, I will say Narvaez did not have a terrible game today and had a beautiful strike him out, throw him out shortly after this. But before we got there, in the bottom of the first, we see Lindor with a single. Zach Gallen then unfortunately exits the game with a hamstring tightness, strain, whatever it was there for him, wishing him the best to Zach Gallen. And Lindor then steals second base, DJ with a walk, and Marte then with a terrible strikeout on a clear ball outside the zone, which ends the inning, again, unscathed in the D-backs' favor. So as we get to the top of the second now, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. with a single, Pavin Smith with a strikeout, and Gurriel is out trying to steal second base. As you see in the highlights right here, that is the beautiful strike him out, throw him out by the Mets, by Omar Narvaez today, and we will gladly take that. In the third, we see Gabby Moreno with the single, Curl with the walk, and then Ketel Marte with a 2-run double down the third baseline in that area. Ketel Marte, a fantastic player that we know. I even tweeted earlier, this is not a personal offense with Starling, but he is the better of the two Martes. Not that they're related, I don't believe, but just Ketel has been an absolute dog. Had a massive year last year. So happy to see him healthy and swing the bat the way he is. Just don't like it when it's against my Mets, obviously. No less, Kristen Scott gives up those 2 runs early, but that's all she wrote when it comes to the runs that he personally gave up. Because in the bottom of the third, we see Francisco Lindor, and you want to know how I know Francisco Lindor is really starting to get locked in here. Yes, I know it was 92 miles per hour, but Lindor batting from the right side of the plate, his second hit of the day, is a no-doubt home run to the left on a fastball well above out of the zone. Francisco Lindor, what has been his biggest bugaboo with pitch selection, it has been high heat. He has struggled mightily with that, especially guys with velocity. So one, it makes a level of sense to see him do well there with a 92 heater up the zone, but still that was out of the zone, and he ripped that bad boy with a no-doubt bomb, and that makes it a 1-run deficit for the Mets, keeping them in this ball game big time. Where's the post-game? Alex, we already played the post-game jingle. Yes, you did. You missed it again, brother. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Go back in the, literally just go back in the live stream a couple minutes, listen to it, and then fast forward to be up to speed with the live chat currently. And everybody, I don't know where we're at in the like count, but if you can smash that like and subscribe button for your boy, greatly appreciate it. Thank you all so much in advance. All right, we see Lindor with the home run. Then 2 outs later, JD Martinez reaches on a walk. Marte with a single. Mets have 2 on, 2 out. Unfortunately, cannot convert there. On the top of the 4th, Pavin Smith with a double. That's all she wrote, though. In the bottom of the 4th, Mark Vientos, who got the start at first base today, over Pete Alonso. Pete would return in the game later on as a pinch hitter. Vientos with an infield single. Also had a tremendous diving stop at first base. Vientos looked very casual at first base, like he's been playing there every single day, with the infield single. And then Brett Beatty, first pitch swinging, double play right up the middle. Unfortunately, thereafter, nothing happens in that inning. In the top of the 5th, Christian Scott's final inning of the day of work is a nice 1-2-3, which leads to Christian Scott's final line, folks, as you see here. 5 innings of 4 hit, 2 earned run, 1 walk, 4 strikeout ball. Scott, again, was far from perfect today, struggled to go deep in the start, but was still effective and kept the Mets in this ball game. For the young right-hander, now having made around 5 starts so far, is young, and hopefully what's going to be a long, exciting time in Queens for a professional career. And hopefully some run support, you know. Thankfully, the Mets got the win today, even though he got the no decision. But as we hop back into this one, folks, after he exits the game, we see Francisco Lindor with his 3rd hit of the day going 3 for 3. In the bottom of the 5th, the Mets don't do anything there. As we then get to the 6th in a 1-run ball game. In a 1-run ball game, everybody, this is what stands out so much to me. Adrian Houser. Adrian Houser ate 6th and 7th innings beautifully for the Mets. And when I tell you that was not only needed, but impressive, it really was. As someone who has ragged on Adrian Houser to not be a starter in this rotation as much as I have, I am not ragging on him being a reliever for the Mets right now because he is getting the job done. He just ate 3 solid innings for the Mets the last time he was out there, if I'm not mistaken. He looked unbelievably sharp today for the Mets. Again, he gave up that Christian Walker, had himself a walk, which is funny to say in the 6th. That's all she wrote, though. And then in the top of the 7th, Suarez would reach on a error by Lindor. Lindor bobbles the ball, makes a nice throw to home, not home, first. And unfortunately, after replay review, after the challenge, it is clear that he is safe. Suarez stays on the base. He steals a bag, too, only 2nd of the year, because everyone runs on the Mets right now, without Alvarez especially. And then he gets to third base on a wild pitch. With 1 out, there's a runner on 3rd. Again, the D-backs had a chance to add insurance, but they pulled a Mets, and they couldn't convert. And that was huge. Adrian Houser strikes out the ensuing next 2 batters he faces, and escapes the jam unscathed that we see there in the 7th inning. Huge job by Adrian Houser today. Tip the cap to him. Again, he has been brutal in many stretches this season. He has not been brutal, however, that we've seen of recent. I see Ronnie Rivera on Twitter just said, how do I call in, Wardy? Ronnie, what you're going to have to do, Ronnie, for watching this, my man, is to go to the YouTube live stream, and you're going to click the link that I'm going to have available for you guys in the live chat. I don't currently yet, because I'm going to wait until I'm done breaking down the game, getting into some numbers before I start to take live callers. So we're not at the live caller portion yet. We will be, though. Once we get there, Ronnie, you will be able to, in fact, chime in. Just make sure you chime into the stream through the YouTube version and not the Twitter version. The Twitter version will not have the call-in link available for you guys once I post it in the live chat. But getting further into the ball game here, folks, in the bottom of 7th, Pete Alonso comes in to pinch hit. You know, of course, doesn't miss a day of work. Pete Alonso gets a nice standing O by the fans. And you know what? He does exactly what you need him to do. Pete Alonso rips himself a double down the 3rd baseline. Huge. Again, puts a runner in scoring position with 1 out for Francisco Lindor to drive him in. Lindor's 4th hit of the day. 4 for 4, baby. You love to see it. Ties the ball game. Then afterwards, in the top of the 8th, Danny Young comes in, strikes out 2 batters, a 1-2-3 inning. Danny Young, I love it, baby. Let's keep him up in the bigs until something suggests otherwise. And then in the bottom of the 8th, you know what JD Martinez says? Let me be the JDM of old. Let me be the JDM that you guys signed with a dead center go-ahead home run that would ultimately win the ball game for the Mets. Reed Garrett walks a schmuck in the 9th. He gets out of that. The Mets go on to win this ball game, a long overdue victory by a final score of 3-2. As we take a moment here to really deep dive a bit more on the pitching, everybody. Actually, before we take a minute to deep dive on the pitching, folks, let's just take a quick word from one of our amazing video sponsors on the channel, that being our great friends at Sorare MLB. Because in case you guys and gals do not know Sorare MLB, Sorare is not only the best MLB fantasy game out there, but it's quite literally combining MLB fantasy and MLB the show. So if you guys like being your own GM, controlling your own roster, building your team with virtual unique cards that, again, you can buy, sell, and trade on the marketplace, then Sorare MLB is the game for you. You can enter weekly tournaments with the teams that you draft, and how you perform in said tournaments is based on how the players perform in real life. So if you had JD Martinez on your team, if you had Francisco Lindor on your roster, you're having yourself a nice turnout today with your point production. And if you do well in these tournaments, you win cash prizes, hundreds if not thousands of dollars. Mets ticket prizes. We gave away a bunch of Mets tickets on the channel of recent just for signing up with our unique link and clicking the link down below to do so and entering a free tournament. It is that simple, that easy to do, folks. And now with Sorare MLB, I'm going to show you all how you can build your team and enter the next tournament, which officially begins tomorrow. Tournaments usually begin on Mondays and Fridays, everybody. So as you can take a look right here, folks, let's register a common all-star tournament just to show you guys how this works. We're going to put Luis Severino in the starting spot because he's one of my probable starters. We're going to go, unfortunately, I don't have any other reliever options, so I'm not going to get point production from him here, but when healthy, I do have Edwin Diaz there. Joey Ortiz has been swinging the bat really nice for the Brewers, the rookie. We're going to put him there. Gunnar Henderson, how do you not love the gun show? Just hit a grand salami, 18 bombs on the season already. That is my AL MVP pick, not named Juan Soto. Brandon Nimmo, we're going to put in the outfield there, of course. Adley Rutschman for my other hitter. And then we're going to round things out with our final player. We're going to go with we're going to go with Logan O'Hoppe of the Angels because I actually don't have any better options if guys are healthy at the moment. So this is a roster that I'm personally going to be rocking. And again, I wish you all the best to everybody that enters your weekly tournaments. And as always, make sure to check them out today. Again, for free, but if you guys want to spend money, you can, certainly by buying cards and building your rosters and making them better. Because if you build your team and you build your roster with more than just the common cards that I'm using here, you know, the non-rare cards, you get these for free when you start playing, but you can also enter exclusive tournaments where you need a higher rarity card to do so, and those cards you, again, can buy, sell, and trade on the marketplace for real dollars. You can actually win some legit money playing this game, and it's not difficult to do so. It's a lot of fun. Check out Sorare MLB today, as always, folks, and thank you so much for hearing me out. But now let's get into breaking down the pitching, folks, because I want to get to this quickly. I then, of course, want to get to your live callers, as always. And as we see here, shout out to my man Isaac Rothman. Isaac Rothman, again, does a fantastic job as basically my daily pitching reporter. You know, he gives me a breakdown on everything that happened on the pitching end that, you know, was beyond maybe the eye test. A lot of these numbers, of course, come through Baseball Savant, some advanced information. And Isaac did come out with an awesome thread earlier today on Tyler McGill and his brilliance so far this season when back from injury. So check that out separately if you guys haven't already. But as we see here, Christian Scott today was the following: 5 innings of 4 hit, 2 earned run ball, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts on 91 pitches, a sub-4 ERA, a 4-seam fastball 53% of the time today, the sweeper 27% of the time, the splitty 12%, and the slider 8%. Scott's sweeper and slider have not gone the swing and miss results that we saw there in his debut against the Tampa Bay Rays, obviously, but he still has been productive. The sweeper was so good in his debut when it averaged nearly 16 inches of horizontal movement, but it averaged just 12 inches of horizontal movement today, as just a 10% whiff rate. So what we're noticing quickly with Scott is that MLB hitters aren't too overwhelmed or with the type of arsenal that we have. And of course, for the Panthers, just made it a 2-1 game there in the third period against the Rangers, so I'm not happy about that, but we move on. At least the Mets won today, and there's time in that hockey game still. But Kristen Scott was still effective, but you can tell already that the sharpness that we saw early on is already, deviating a little bit. So I'm curious to see how Scott kind of rebounds after some, I don't want to see underwhelming starts, but just not having any crazy swing and miss stuff. Just being a pitcher that we know can be susceptible to getting beat up if he's facing a red hot lineup. Thankfully for Scott today as well, he faced the Diamondbacks that currently sit 6 games below 500 and has been laboring for good portions of the season at this point on the offensive end. Trying to find consistency has been a problem for the D-backs, to say the least, which is why them, like the Mets, sit 4th in their respective divisions. But in the minors, in his first start, he had a 111 stuff plus on his sweeper. Tonight, it was at 108, so still above average, which is nice to see there. Stuff plus, in simple terms, means that if you have 100, that means it's league average on whatever pitch it is. So if you have 100 ranking on your sweeper as a pitcher in Major League Baseball, that means that you're smack dab league average. So if you're above that, you're above league average. If you're below league average. So still above league average there on the stuff plus for Kristen Scott. And he lowered his arm angle since his first start as well, which I've noticed, and so did Isaac here, which is important, which has allowed him to get more perceived movement on his fastball, but is also positive that it's negatively affecting his sweeper movement, which is, of course, leading to less whiff rate that we've seen there. He used a splitty tonight more than he has in any other start and got at least one strikeout on it. Overall, Scott had himself a fine day. He's relying on the fastball since, the breaking pitches weren't all that sharp today. Personally, I'm going to give Kristen Scott a solid 6 out of 10 out of the start today. 5.5 to 6 out of 10. My man Isaac has him at 6.5 out of 10. I want to know where you guys stand in the chat. Priest, you could say Lindor deserves nothing all you want. That's fine. But we can at least appreciate him single-handedly carrying the Mets in a lot of ways the way he did today. I know you're going to shit on Lindor every single day of the week, no matter what happens, and that's completely fine. But still, pump the brakes. You can rag on him all you want. Today's not the day to do it. If you're going to do it, I'm just saying you're in the minority there. You have to allow guys to have good performances, even if they aren't consistent. We know the Mets have struggled with their consistency, and I know you even said yourself that you want to rag on him to make sure he does well. Well, he did well today, so let's appreciate that for what it is. Optimist start of something, hopefully, Alex. Hopefully, indeed. And getting onto the bullpen here briefly, Adrian Hauser, maybe oh my God, Isaac, you read my mind. I hope you're watching this, Isaac. I was literally saying after Hauser went 2 shutty, the way he's pitching, I'm like, we might have a new Trevor Williams type here, guys. We might really have it. Makes all the more sense in the world as a starter turn reliever, the way that Williams was and the way that now Hauser is becoming, as he's looking more like he did a few years ago with that sinker movement. Danny Young has an insane horizontal movement on his sweeper, which is why he got the swing and miss against both lefties and right. The righties down and in was disgusting today. 24 inches today, and his sidearm delivery makes it even more deceptive. The sinker also moves around 20 inches, but in the other direction. So fantastic stuff from Danny Young. Hitters were not, just are not swinging at Garrett's splitter like they were, which forces him to throw his fastball more. So that goes in here with why Reed Garrett hasn't been unhittable like he was earlier in the season. It seems to have already picked up his playbook quite a bit after not having a clue who he was to begin the season. But that's what you guys need to know on the pitching end. On the offensive end, the final remarks I'll share here are as follows as we take a look at the lineup as a whole today. Again, the Mets had a 367 expected batting average. So they, again, were actually pretty unlucky today with their offense. They had 9 hits, of course. They only had themselves a total of 3 runs, but they did have more improvement on the offensive end to a measly 236 expected batting average for the Diamondbacks. Francisco Lindor is now up to 225, which is hilarious to say on the average, 687 OPS. DJ Stewart, 188 average, 706 OPS, 0 for 3 today. 2 strikeouts and a walk, gained the start in left field. Brennan Nimmo, 0 for 4 at center field today, 209 average, 721 OPS. JD Martinez with the go-ahead home run, 273 average, 761 OPS. Starling Marte, 2 for 4 today. Marte had some good at-bats and some terrible at-bats today. Very much Starling Marte. 267 average, 709 OPS. Chev McNeil, 0 for 4, coloring me surprised. Again, useless today. 224 average, 617 OPS. Mark Vientos, Marky V, went 1 for 4 today with that infield single. 295 average and 945 OPS. Brett Beatty, 0 for 1 that we saw there. 225 average, 629 OPS. Pete Alonso with the pinch hit double. 235 average, 771 OPS. Omar Narvaez, 0 for 2. 154 average, 376 OPS, and he will be off this roster in in hopefully the next week or two. Harrison Bader, 273 average, 680 OPS. He went 0 for 1 pitch hitting, trying to drive in Alonso, but thankfully Francisco Lindor with 2 outs was able to clutch up and get the job done there. Hey, Wardy and fellow Mets fans, what's up, Carlos? Happy to have you in here, my man. They're going to go 2-8 instead of 1-9. Oh my God, what a win. Priest, it's okay, buddy. You got to understand. You think, and I mean, pick a better team. Pete, here's the thing. Diehard fans don't pick a better team. I can't pick a better team even if I wanted because I'm stuck with the Mets no matter how much I love or hate it, because that's what true fans do. Not going anywhere no matter how much you may think it's the right or wrong decision for my either personal health or, my well-being, whatever it might be. But final thing I'll say here, Priest, if you think the Mets are winning this D-backs series and you haven't been paying attention, never said that they're certainly winning the D-backs series, but what I will tell you is they win tomorrow, they win the series. So if the D-backs do win the series, I am curious to see what your reaction is going to be. Mind you, I know this Mets team has played god-awful. I've been the first to say it. We've all seen it. We all know it. But it doesn't mean that we can't enjoy these slivers of victories when we get them, because at the end of the day, you guys are chiming in the same reason why I'm talking, because we are diehard Mets fans, and no matter what, no matter how good, no matter how bad this team is, we will still show up and we will still be here. The same way that we are now going to get to your live callers here in a second, everybody. But Scott, thank you for the kind words too. I appreciate that. Being a Mets fan is the best. I hate it. Exactly. I hate it. I love it. 100%. 100%. Oh, it's a 4-game series. I sincerely apologize. Let me pump the brakes. Priest, I take that back. I apologize to everybody. I initially thought that this was a 3-game set. I did not realize that this was a 4-game series. So my apologies to every single one of you guys for that comment there. I see. Okay, if you have me on, let's see. All right, guys. Love to be depressed. Yes, says Carlos. You love to see it. All right. Yep. I apologize, everybody. But now I want to take your live callers. So let's do exactly that. And you know what? Before we do exactly that, final word from our second video sponsor of the day. And you guys know exactly who I was just talking about. That is our great friends at BetUS. For those that don't know, BetUS is not only America's #1 sports book, but BetUS, folks, if you hammer the picks that I hammered tonight, you might be in luck, barring any changes at the moment, folks. We see here, as we took a look at the current lines, let's take a look at the NBA slate here just for a second, because I'm pretty sure that Dallas game is still going on. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see, or am I wrong? Maybe I am wrong. Let's go to the live betting here for 1 second, because I know the Mavs were up plenty last time I checked. Dallas right now, 105-80. Yep, that is a T-Wolves team rolling over and dying. It's almost like Anthony Edwards isn't that guy yet, and Luka Doncic absolutely is. Color me surprised. Literally, I've been saying this for how many days now, folks? How many days? Luka Doncic is the best player out there, and not only all playoffs right now, but arguably all the NBA, you could rightfully say. I'm riding high, and I'm picking the Dallas Mavericks to go on and win the entire damn thing. I'm taking them over Boston every day of the week, even if it becomes a 7-game series. I love the Mavs right now. I really do. So Mavs, if you tell them the way I did, guys, you're looking fantastic. If you hammer the money line, if you hammer the spread, the New York Rangers are down by a goal right now, but if they lose by just a goal, if you hammer the spread, you're looking fantastic too. So everything is aligned. Everything is looking good at the moment, and we'll gladly take that. Hit his fill. He is done this whole weekend. Priest, let's see what happens, my man. How about that? Mets fans, we live with anxiety. I love it here. Nothing a cold brew can't fix, says Jordy. All right. I love to hear that. Now let's get into taking your live callers, folks, and we will take live callers probably until we get to around the hour mark of the live show, and then we will wrap things up tonight. Again, appreciate everybody taking the time to chime in live on a replay. Smash those buttons for your boy. Thank you all so much in advance. Now, everybody, when you guys call in, please, a couple things. Make sure that you have your camera on so that way I know who's who. Make sure you have the same name that you have here on YouTube so I know who you are. And most importantly, please just be respectful, one, and make sure that what you're going to discuss is related to the Mets regarding their victory or the Mets as a whole. Whether you got key questions for me or want to vent a little bit or just want to share some excitement about today's win, whatever it is, just try to keep it a little concise so I can get to as many callers as possible. And thank you guys so much in advance for understanding. Greatly appreciate that. But now let's get the call-in link ready for you all. Again, guys, you can call in as soon as this thing is posted for you. So give me 1 second. I'm going to put this in the YouTube live chat right now, everybody, and then we will go from there. course, the computer's got to go at a snail's pace, because why wouldn't it for you, boy? But almost at 100 likes. Thank you guys so much for that, too. Continue smashing those buttons, folks. Here, let's see. Call into this show. Low-key want Priest to call in just because he's been talking so much smack. Honestly. All right, guys, the call-in link is available. So, again, if you're watching this also live on Twitter and you guys would like to call in, just make sure you hop into my YouTube. It is that simple to do. Hop in the YouTube live stream, and you guys can click the link right there. I'll have it pinned, again, to everybody that calls in. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate that. We already got some people lining up, ready to chop it up, talk some Mets. Again, everybody, when you call in, have the camera on. I'm not going to show you on screen, but have the camera on so I know who's who. Make sure you have your name in so I know who you are, and just make sure you're ready to talk Mets and strictly Mets with whatever you're about to say. And I will wait a couple seconds here to let people start to roll in on the callers. I don't know how many or how few we're going to get today, if I'm being quite frank, because, again, this Mets team has been oh so brutal, as we know, also brutal. But I do see some callers already coming in. And let's just start with my man, again, good friend of mine, Jordan Simpson. Jordan, you hear me?
Yo, can you see me?
I see you and I hear you. Let it rip, Jordan. How
You
are
there?
you?
Here we go. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. I'm much better than 24 hours ago.
Me too. Me too. Listen, I've been, you know me, you know I'm like a very fair, positive guy. I cannot begin to tell you how down I've felt just over the past, especially the past a couple of days. I was there on Tuesday for both games. Like, you know what? I was there on Sunday too, keep in mind. So, like, you know what? Maybe some momentum. Dodgers series, they've been struggling to go into it. You know, let's see what happens. And you felt good until it wasn't good. And then second game, and then yesterday in the whole debacle. And I feel like as Mets, I think the frustrating thing as a Mets fan, which I think we all can attest to, is that because you care so much about the team, when things go wrong.
Oh, no, Jordan. Oh, wait, you're back. You're back. You're back. Okay. All right.
Sorry.
You're good.
But when things happen that are beyond our control, it's like we kind of feel like we can, but we still can't. Like everything yesterday with like Lopez, like it's annoying when you're on social media and it's like, oh, the Mets did this, or the Mets did this, and the Mets did this, and like at one point you're like, you kind of feel bothered by it, but at the same time it's like, you know what? If I'm a player right now, this is kind of how I think sometimes. Like if I were a player, how would I approach this? And like I think what they did today, playing, even though it wasn't like a clean win in terms of like going up and carrying the whole way through, to play a more efficient game, I felt confident for the first time watching. Not confident in the sense like, yeah, they got this, but more like less on edge. I feel like it's one game. I understand that. And I know people are in the chat like, oh, it's only one game. I understand that. It's better than losing one game for sure. But hey, you got to start somewhere. There's a long way to go for sure. But end of the day, you and me both. We both make content with the Mets. So it's like, it's harder on us when we have to relive this stuff over and over and over again to create something, for other people. But I feel a lot better. I just wanted to say that because today was a long day. Yesterday morning, there was an ant in my coffee before everything else happened. So it was not a good day yesterday. But anyway,
sorry,
that's
Jordan.
all I wanted to say.
That made my evening.
No.
That made my evening, Jordan. You have no idea how much that made my evening. Thank you. He's like, I had an ant in my coffee.
I knew from that moment. I was like, you know what? I just don't feel great about today. And then they lost the game and the whole Lopez thing. Everything spirals. But you know what? Today's a new day, new beginnings, and you never know with this team. You really don't. But hey, a win's a win. Take it. Let's enjoy it. First night and tomorrow's a new day. Go out and win in the Blacks. So
yes,
that's what I wanted to say. But I just wanted to say hello. Yeah, it's been a bit, but
hope you're doing fantastic, Jordan. I appreciate you calling in, my man, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Hopefully, no ants in the drinks, right? I think that's how it's going to cap off for a good night's sleep. But I appreciate you calling in,
Bro, I'm
Jordan.
paranoid.
And again, guys, if you don't know Jordan Simpson, please make sure you follow him on Twitter, on TikTok. He comes out with awesome musical recaps of every single series for the Mets, along with a boatload of different types of jingles with our man Greg, Real Black, that you guys know on Twitter as well. So make sure to check them out. Jordan, I appreciate. Yes, we can both, at least for at minimum tonight, have ourselves a calm night as Mets fans. Thank you, my man. Have a great
Enjoy
night.
it. Talk to you, bye.
Shout out to Jordan for calling in. I appreciate that. Let's get on now. We got a couple more callers to get into, folks. We got Alan, then we got Epic, and then we got Steven. Steven's been a caller before. Alan's been a caller before. Epic, this will be the first time, so we can see what they have to say. But Alan, Alan yesterday was calling in, and he was pretty, obviously upset about the Mets, but, just hoping that they can start to turn around. So I know it's just one victory, but I'm curious to hear what his thoughts are. Alan Gonzalez, how are you, my friend?
Hey, doing well again. I'm happy that this was one signal that we got. The Cats, I'm a jinx buster. It's true.
I love
We
that.
need to win.
So, what was your biggest takeaway from tonight's win?
That we got that win in an important way. Analytics.
There you go. Okay. So, heavy on the analytics front. I mean, especially when you think about Danny Young and his usage today out of the Mets bullpen. I mean, that was a revelation too, between himself and Adrian Hauser. We can sit here and talk about Francisco Lindor having the big day, JD Martinez go-ahead home run, but I think you have to give a lot of credit as well to the pitching, right?
Yes, you should, because it was evenly matched up. David Stearns knows all the data, and he sees what's the weaknesses from the lefty and righty. This is like old school Mets right here. I just hope we get that 73 turnaround. I was right about the joyful June.
Well, I don't know if you're right about the joyful June yet. We're not even in June, so hopefully.
Yes.
Hopefully.
I just hope it goes well.
Yes.
If that goes well, 73 all over again, part 2.
Alan, do you have any pieces of wood around you?
I have the pieces of my it's my New York.
Knock on
New
your
York
wall,
City.
knock on something, because we got to make sure the jinx doesn't happen. All right, I don't care if it's wood or not. Just make sure you do the knock. I appreciate that, Alan. Any final words, my man, before I let you go?
That's it. Let's go Mets, and let's say one more thing. Who you're gonna call? The Jinx Busters. Take down Frank the Tank.
Take down Frank the Tank. I love that. I love the Frank hate. Appreciate Alan calling in. Frank, of course, throughout the first pitch for the Milwaukee Brewers today, which just shows you the MLB when it comes to their priorities with people who put the sport on a pedestal or lack thereof, but that's a discussion for another day. We got Epic. We got Steven. We got Priest. I don't know if that's the actual Priest here, though, so I'm going to need to know Priest in the live chat on YouTube. Let me know if you are, in fact, going to call in. Okay, so if that's gonna happen, this is gonna be interesting one. Just drink the shit out of the team. We'll see what happens. If it does happen, you know who to blame. And if I'm gonna be frank, guys, I'm a little pissed off now, not because of the Mets winning, but because now my bet is not going to hit, because the Rangers were losing by a goal and they gave up an empty netter. So if you guys hammered the Rangers plus 1.5 puck line, you got absolutely screwed just now. So that's a bummer. Happy about the Dallas one, but when you do a 2-pick parlay, you shoot yourself in the foot the way I did. So I apologize. I apologize, folks. But now let's get into our next caller. That's going to be Epic. Epic, do you hear me?
Hey, what's up, brother?
How are you, my man?
I am actually camping in Florida right now. Watch the game, and I want to say I love your show. Watch it every time, and but at this point, it I don't know. It feels like last year to me.
Yeah,
in a way.
It does. And first and foremost,
and
thank you for the support. I appreciate that.
It's really discouraging.
It is very discouraging, unfortunately, with the Mets as a whole so far this season. So I guess my question to you is, what was, one, your biggest takeaway from the victory tonight? And two, what has been your biggest takeaway of the Mets so far this season, barring if there's any specific questions that you have for me?
I just feel like no one's really playing at their par. I just feel like everybody's kind of too laid back, and they think that something's going to happen when I'm from New York. I'm upstate New York, and I just feel like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, from last year to this year, I just feel like I don't know. It's the same damn thing.
Yeah, like a broken record, right?
Yeah, it's just like, well, yeah, we sit here and we say, yeah, they're doing better, and then all of a sudden they go back to the same routine.
Yep, unfortunately, that has been exactly the case. They have had, again, with the video that I did late last night, early this morning, no unity, no cohesion as a team, as an organization, a lack of leadership, a lack of identity. So I guess my question to you is there anything specific that you would like to see change with the Mets when it comes to physical changes being made to either players on the roster, coaching staff, what have you? Like, is there anything that sticks out to you in particular?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think honestly they're trying to do something with the coaching and everything and everything, but I think some people have to go.
Yeah.
I
No,
think
I agree.
and I hate to say it because I know a lot of people don't want that, but I think it's time.
I think so too. And I think regardless on what the ensuing days hold for the Mets, on the ensuing weeks, even if everything goes right, I still see a world where the Mets should absolutely part ways with not everybody on the roster, obviously, but a good
Right.
chunk of guys that are on short-term contracts right now, guys that are rentals, and also inherited coaching staff from the Billy Epper regime. I think a lot of these guys, it's not a matter of if they will be parted with, but when, right? That's exactly what it's going to be. So,
And I think it needs to happen sooner than later. I think they're just kind of trying to figure out. Maybe they're like hoping and wishing maybe, or just trying to blame it on maybe they're gonna get some luck out of it. But I don't see it now.
yeah. No, and I don't blame you for not seeing it. Even as awesome, I shouldn't say overly awesome, but as refreshing of a victory as tonight was, it doesn't change the bigger picture, right?
Yeah, but you can't take that. Well, they had a victory. Yeah, but they're still playing like they're doing last year.
Right. And they're 10
You
games
know,
below
so,
500. That insults injury. It's not even like they're
right.
in a 500 realm at the moment.
Right. Right. And it's like and that's really disappointing to people that are like, it's I hate watching a game and getting disappointed and getting put down. It's like I don't know. I mean, for the money that's being put out, what's going on?
Right? Yeah. And unfortunately, that's what happens when you think you have the best interest in allocating a lot of money in certain areas. And unfortunately, just things don't go the way you're hoping they're going to. Whether it's, buying in on guys, that being in Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, when they're grizzled vets and it's a little too late, or it's a Starling Marte where you need to buy in with his first year or two. And when you don't do that, you're dealing with the reality, which is now going to be what has been pretty much an ugly contract. And the same goes with a couple other guys currently on the roster, and the Mets just have to deal with it for the time being. But I think
Right.
you and I are both under the same understanding that changes will need to be made. It's just a matter of when. So whether that's in the coming weeks, if the Mets really again free fall well beyond 10 games right now, or if it's one of those things where we focus more in the offseason that they do this. Either way, it is going to happen at some point. And before I let you go, Epic, is there any final remarks you got for me?
No. Everybody follow him. He's a good guy, and he's awesome for the Mets. And let's go Mets, baby.
Let's go Mets. Enjoy your camping trip in Florida, brother. Greatly appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Epic. Guys, now we got Steven will be next. Priest on a plane. Yes, the man that has been the chat shitting on Lindor every single game this series. So that's going to be an interesting one. And then we're going to wrap up the call-in show with my man, Ronnie Rivera, longtime follower of mine. Ronnie seems pumped up to get into the call, so we'll get into that shortly. Again, thank you all so much that have been calling in, guys. And no, if you guys want to call in too, all you got to do is chime in to the post-game coverage live here on YouTube, and we're live after every single New York Metropolitan game. Now we got Steven. Steven, long time no see, my friend. How are you?
Very good, sir. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So much better than the day before. Not that I think we're going to win the World Series now, but just that I can hang my head tonight happy to a degree. If that makes sense.
Tell me about it. Hallelujah! Finally, the streak is over!
You love that? What do you got for me, Steven? Any specific questions? Any specific thoughts on the team? Let it rip.
Let's see. Well, mostly we gotta get. I don't know, maybe Neves. We definitely gotta get out of there. That's one.
Wait, who's got to get out of here? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Neves.
Yes.
Gotta get him. He's gotta go.
Okay.
Who's I forgot the other one. Oh, crud.
I love that. I think that's just hilarious because that's literally something that I would do, especially because my ADHD can be at the wazoo sometimes. So if I don't say right away what I'm thinking, I could completely lose it. Okay, let's try to reel you back in. So you want one player gone. What's another player that you want gone? Do you want McNeil gone? Do you want let's see here. I'm trying to think of, Narvaez, you said that first. Like, who's sticking out to you? Who are you like, I don't want this guy on the Mets anymore. They're schmucks. I'm done with it.
Damn, I can't think of his name. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Okay. Okay. We'll circle back to that. How about let's get on to another thing here. What has been your biggest takeaway from the Mets' underwhelming season to this point, 50+ games in?
The defense, it's got to wake up. The defense got to wake up. The offense got to wake up. Everything.
I 100% agree, especially that's a good point on the defensive end, considering that was one of those things that was supposed to be a strength for the Mets entering the season, and it has been pretty much anything but consistently. They have had some really bonehead defensive mistakes that we've seen over the past calendar month especially. So, Narvaez, we all want gone. We want to see the offense and defense be better. So the final question I got for you, Steven, unless you have anything for me, what is your hope for the remainder of the season?
Hopefully if they can make the, if they could, bleh. I hate when that happens. Hopefully after Lindor talks to him, they wake the heck up.
Right. You hopefully that this is a trend in the right direction after a victory like tonight, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Steven, I greatly appreciate you calling in, my man. For those that don't know, Steven in the chat, longtime member, longtime follower. He's called in the show many times before. So you have a great rest of your evening, okay?
Yeah, I also got my bowling jersey on, you could tell.
Oh, I love that. You guys can't see it on screen right now, but he has a Mets-themed jersey right now that says swag on the front. It's pretty banner. I'm not going to lie. You got a money sign for the S. You got the W, a little out of sorts. You got the A, which looks sick, and it has headphones on top of it. And you got the G. I mean, when you talk about a Mets-themed jersey that isn't the Mets, there aren't many things that get better than that. Steven, thank you so much for calling in. Greatly appreciate that. Now let's get on to our next caller, folks. And this is the man you've probably been waiting for. This is the certified Francisco Lindor hater. And I'm going to preface, I have no clue what is about to happen here. So bear that in mind. Okay. Priest, do you hear me?
Yo, you can hear me.
I can hear you. Oh, love the...
Yo, Wardy.
I love the voice. I love the voice.
I love you, Wardy.
I love you too. That's as New York as it gets. All right, you're going to shit on Lindor. Let's hear... Just
Listen,
say what you're going to say.
I'm like Jorge Lopez, and you are like Mendoza. I'm throwing the glove. Which, by the way, this guy's a fucking hero, by the way.
I love Jorge Lopez. I've no issue with Jorge Lopez.
He died on the DFA list, so all of us can talk shit about this bum-ass freaking Mets team.
So you're not happy that they won tonight?
This one win means nothing.
No, I know, but I'm saying, are you happy they won tonight?
If you think they're winning the next three games,
you're
smoking crack.
No.
Wardy. I love you, but you might be smoking crack.
No, that's not what I'm asking. Are you happy that the Mets won tonight?
I don't care.
Okay.
I'm broken. I'm done. I'm like Frank the Tank. I'm broken.
Okay, fair.
But I don't hate Lindor. I just don't think this bum needs to be hitting third.
Okay, so let's talk for a second, because Lindor statistically has been hitting really well throughout his hitting streak, especially. Do you think he's better off staying in the leadoff spot, or do you want, where do you want Lindor? Are you fine where he is? Are you just ragging on him because, again, it's Lindor? We want him to still
he should be batting
more consistently.
Maybe 8th or 9th in AAA Syracuse is what I think.
Okay. God.
No, but for real,
this checks out. That's killing me. Go ahead.
For real, leadoff spot's a good spot for him, but it's too little, too late. I told you he'd start hitting when the team is going nowhere. Team's going nowhere. Guy starts to hit. I don't care.
Okay, so you're not happy with the Mets. You don't think they're going anywhere this year. You're one of many, many fans that feels that way.
And there's no hope for them. Who's coming? Who's coming to save us, Wardy?
I mean, Francisco Alvarez is coming to save us. If we're being
Francisco
frank,
Alvarez.
that is one. That
And
is.
so what?
That
We're
is
gonna
many.
get rid of Narvaez. We're gonna get rid of Nito now.
No,
Our best
no.
run hitter. Our
No.
number one hitter, Nito.
No,
We're
no,
gonna get rid of
no.
him?
I'm. Let me put it this way: if the Mets don't DFA Omar Narvaez, I'm going live right away, and we're
Look,
ranting.
I don't
about it.
hate Lindor. I really don't. He's a good player. He's just not a superstar player. He's not the guy we paid for. He's
Right.
not the guy we thought he was going to be.
And I think to an extent that's fair. But I guess my question to you is, because you definitely fit in the category of Mets fans that, again, you don't hate Lindor. You're happy when he's producing, but you never feel like
I don't
he's
care
going...
when he produces. It's too late.
No. Let me explain. What is it?
By the way, he tried to lose this game today too. You saw him bobble the ball over there.
For fuck's sake, come on.
Yeah.
The
He
one
tried to
day,
lose this game, too.
the one day he like single-handedly
he
carries
hits the
the
ball. I
Mets.
can't play defense today.
You're killing me. I will give you this. You do have, every time that you bring up something, you do have arguments because it's something that happened. I will give you that. So my question,
You
though,
bring it out at me, Wardy. You're a great host.
Oh, I appreciate
go
that.
Mets.
Thank you. Let's go Mets. Final question for you, Priest, before you get out of here. Lindor, when it comes to the dollars,
Lindofer.
is it more so the fact that you're just pissed off that he's on a $325 million contract and he's playing the way he is? Is it as simple as that?
Maybe.
Okay. 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 Oh, you're like a man.
It's because I want this guy to be like our Aaron Judge. I want this guy to be like, our Jorge Posada. I don't know, our Derek Jeter. And this guy, it's like Tomas Nito, the backup catcher in AAA Syracuse.
Right. And I will say this again. If Omar Narvaez is the Mets
Bat hit
backup
ninth.
when Alvarez returns, I am going to lose my effing shit. And everybody knows that. Nito
If he returns
is a cane.
and Francisco Lindor is still hitting number 2, number 3 in the lineup, I'm coming there. I'm going to start yelling, bench Lindor.
Okay.
I ain't going to be happy.
I can tell you ain't going to be. I don't think you're going to be happy at any point this season with
And
the way you're
leadoff
talking
is okay.
about.
I'm barely okay with it.
Barely okay.
Only
But-
because it's funny.
Okay. Okay. Any final remarks, brother, before I let you go?
Let's go Mets, baby. Love you, Wardy. Keep going.
Let's go Mets. Love it. I love that. That's fantastic. That is like as Mets fan as you can get in regards to just being like, I don't hate the guy, but at the same time, fuck him. Like that is peak. Absolute peak. The voice of the people. Love that. Shout out to you, Priest. He will have to call in again. Last but not least, we got my man Ronnie Rivera. Ronnie, how are you today, my friend?
Hey, Wardy, how's it going, brother?
I'm doing much better than 24 hours ago, my man. I hope it's the same for you regarding the Mets, at least.
Oh, it's been fabulous. So here's my thing. I'm gonna say this right now. The Mets will be in the postseason this year.
Oh, bang!
I am going to say it now. Now, the reason why I say that is this team on paper is too good to be this bad for so long. Now, if you look at the upcoming months, their schedule is going to get a little bit lighter, right? And with everything going on and everybody saying, hey, get rid of, Alonso, which is complete BS, number one. Alonso is one of the beating hearts of this team. I will say that right now. He has been the must-see attraction here. You can't get rid of a guy like that. Now, yes, I understand he's having a down year, but look, he comes through in a pinch. This is somebody that's going to be a mainstay for the next couple of years. Lindor, what can I say about Lindor? That's my boy right there. 4 for 4 today, coming out of a meeting, ready to go. And he has been the offensive spark today. This team is going to turn it around, and it's only going to get better.
So, Ronnie, I love everything you said. And this is what makes the call-in segment so fun, because you get Priest, a caller ago, saying all the absolute opposite of what you just relayed here. And then
Yep.
we get you coming in saying, we're making playoffs. Francisco Lindor's the guy. That's my most favorite part of this entire show so far tonight. So I appreciate that, Ronnie. And
Absolutely.
And to add on top of that, you are right. Now, while I'm not going to sit here and say the Mets are a lock to make playoffs, because I think that's far from it, I will say that we are in the same unison when looking at the team on paper, knowing that it is much better than the production that we have been getting. And the reason...
Wardy, can you hear me?
Yeah. You hear me, Ronnie? Oh, no. We lost Ronnie. Oh, wait.
Hello?
I hear you, Ronnie. Do you hear me?
Oh, come on.
Wait, do you guys hear Ronnie? Am I going crazy? Oh. Ronnie. Let's get some hype in the chat going. Take his car keys, Wardy.
Crap.
Ronnie. You hear me? Ronnie. Come on. We're so close. This was going well.
Wardy.
I'm right here, Ronnie. I'm right here. I don't know what happened. Okay. All right. He lost signal. I know you guys hear him. That's the thing. I don't know what happened. Okay. Well, if Ronnie's able to figure it out, awesome. If not, no worries. He was able to share some remarks there. Ronnie. Killing me, Ronnie. I'll come back. We'll circle back, Ronnie. We'll circle back. I'll circle back in a minute. Gonna put him backstage right now because we are running short on time tonight. I know you guys heard him as well, so I don't know what the issue was there with Ronnie. But what I was trying to say was he's right. We saw in the 12-3 stretch, again, to a degree, what the Mets can show when they have things clicking. Mind you, again, the Mets have yet to really fully click with the current group that they have healthy. Francisco Alvarez being part of this group. JD Martinez swinging the bat at his best. Lindor, Alonso, and I know that it's hard. It's very difficult to get all these guys clicking at the same time. However, I do see still a world where the Mets can find themselves in playoff contention. Because no matter how deep they are below 500 right now, they are still in a striking distance for the wild card spot. That is what's going to keep them in this. Now, do I think right now the Mets are going to make playoffs? No, of course I don't. Doesn't change the fact that all it takes is a run for the Mets to have in them that maybe we don't know yet to, in fact, insinuate and say, okay, the Mets are actually going to be a playoff caliber team this year. They just need to prove it the same way David Stern said. So until they do, I'm not buying in. But once they do start to do exactly that, I will be buying in naturally because they will have proved us wrong and righted their wrongs and righted the ship from what's been a very underwhelming season. All right, Ronnie, do you hear me? Ronnie.
I can hear you fine.
Okay. All right, Ronnie. If you got anything else that you want to let off your chest, do it now. You're the last caller tonight, guys. So on SR Urza, I apologize, guys. I will take you guys in our next call-in segment, which will likely be tomorrow, if not sometime over the weekend. Ronnie was always going to be our final caller tonight, folks. So my apologies to anyone else that come in after the fact. Just bear in mind, folks, when I take the link off of the top chat, the reason for that is because we're done taking callers at that point. So if you guys come in after that, you're likely not going to get your call in. So my apologies to you guys, but I will take you guys and your callers hopefully next time around. Ronnie, okay, we just talked about how the Mets are making playoffs. So is there anything else specifically you would like to let off your chest about the team, about the win today, anything at all? Let me hear it.
Oh, absolutely. So, yes, I understand that there are some, key points of this team, like McNeil, he's having a down year. Marte, could be a little bit better. Even if, let's say, at the trade deadline, we kind of sell off some pieces. I'm not too worried about that because look what's waving in the winds, right? Let's just say we get rid of the, Quintanas and the Severinos. We still have Peterson. We still have, McGill. We still have, hopefully, Senga coming back after the All-Star break.
One can only hope at this point.
Exactly. But then you still have Acuna, Chet Williams. You have all these young studs ready to come up. I'm not too worried about where we're going to be at the end of the year. Is where we're going to be at the end of the year? Playing October baseball in the postseason.
Okay, now I got to ask a serious question, Ronnie. Have you been
Sure.
have you been wired like this all season long? Is there an internal optimism that's coming out of you lately when maybe you're like, okay, everyone's being doom and gloom. Let me mix it up a bit. I want to know truthfully how genuine this is, because we got fans that switch up often.
No, I understand completely. But, you know, when you look at the Mets and you look at their history, you know, you look at 69, you look at 86, right? And you're like, if there's any team to do it, it's the Mets. It's built into their history. Why not now? What makes this year any different? Why are we at the end of May calling it quits when there's 106 games still left to play? 106 games is a lot to still play. So anything's possible. You know, 10 games below 500 right now may look a whole lot different in the next month.
That's true.
They can go on a 10-game win streak, and guess what? That just snapped. Now you're back in it. What's the next course? Hey, you could trade off some pieces. You could bring up some young guys. Some guys are coming back from the IL. You know, Diaz is coming back. You can have Senga coming back. Now what? Now this team is looking a whole lot better and ready for, you know, September. My biggest thing is I don't care how you start. I care about how you finish.
I love that. I love the optimism. I love the diversity in the callers that we've had tonight. Ronnie, thank you so much for taking the time, my friend. And I'm loving the glass half full mentality with over 100 games left this season. So you have a great rest of your night, and I look forward to the next time you call in, brother.
All righty, brother. All right, sounds good, Wardy. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets. Shout out to Ronnie. I love that. You want to know why I love that so much? Because that just shows you the difference in fandom. That shows you, again, how some fans are wired so differently than others, yet we all have the same commonality of being diehard Mets fans and still coming together at the end of the day as fans. That's what makes this community so much fun. That's what makes it so enjoyable. And it's stuff like this that makes my entire night so much more than a 3-2 Mets win. Because let's keep it a buck. I'm not going to be thinking about this 3-2 Mets win in just a couple days from now, more than likely, right? For obvious reasons. Unless this is a start, truly, if this is the starting point of a changing of the tide with this Mets team, then okay, I may think about it more. But a lot of games, especially since I've been a content creator, have been a complete blur with the way that my day-by-day is, focusing not only on the game, but how I'm going to be producing and going about my live shows. So it's calls like this. It is segments like this that make it all that much more worthwhile. Thank you to everybody that took the time to call in tonight. So the few that weren't able to get a chance to call in, I apologize to you guys, but we will be taking more live callers this week, I promise you. If not, it's because we have special guests on the channel for a post-game show. So be on the lookout for it. Doc, thank you so much for becoming a member on the channel, my friend. Greatly appreciate that. Shout out to Priest. Shout out to Ronnie. Shout out to Steven. Shout out to Alan. Shout out to Jordan. Shout out to all you beauties for taking the time to call in. And we are in an abusive relationship with the Mets. I was done with them yesterday. I'm back in tonight, baby. 100%. We are all Al Pacino saying, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. 100%, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We will be back live tomorrow. Same place, same time. Win or lose, your boy Wardy is here to talk Mets. Have a great one, folks. And as always, no matter what, let's go Mets, baby. Peace out. Let's see. What about the bunnies? What happened to the bunnies? Bunnies are doing great. The only reason why I really don't show the bunnies much in the streams anymore is because it made a lot more sense when I was doing watch parties and it was like multi-hour long live shows, so I could take the time to walk away for a while. But now it's not as easy to do because I got to kind of get them out of the cage, which means I have to move the cage to put it down and have them hop out and then try to grab them and before they run away. So it's a whole process. So that's why you don't see the bunnies much. Regardless, you